Welcome again to my live stream here on Bible U, and today we're just going to do a quick, badly prepared rant, if prepared at all, about a video that was posted on social media and highly praised, and I started to watch it and said, oh, I can't see it for all the red flags. So I decided that while I still had it in my head, I should just do a quick live stream about it, and hopefully as an indication of how we might recognize, again, false teachings when we hear it. And I don't, not saying that to say that this person is a false teacher all the time or anything, but that this is just bad exegesis and it can lead to all kinds of problems. I'm talking about this site or this channel on YouTube that I've got linked in the description. And I think the first thing that I always facepalm about when I come across a video with such basic errors is look at how popular it is. I mean, as YouTube goes, it's not much. But as you know, this channel is the farthest thing from popular. And 101,000 subscribers, 38,000 views in 2 months. And so it just pains me to know that this many people are so very interested in things that are, I don't know, lack of a better word, shallow, not well supported. Granted, I did not listen to much of the video. I'm basing it on how it started, but you can tell I don't care how nice of a building somebody builds on a bad foundation. It's pointless. Like Jesus' parable of the house built on the sand. If it's on the sand, I don't care how nice the house is. And so when I see the things that it was based on and going to elaborate on, there was little point in going farther, but you can judge for yourself, watch the whole thing, but just to tell you my first reactions, and that's all this is a first reaction to the beginning part, and I did skip a little bit of it, and just kind of skimmed a little bit. So I'm not trying to misrepresent anybody. I'm just trying to say there's a few basic things that jumped right out at me. Hey, Chow, good to see you in the chat. Yeah, this, as I was just explaining, I just came across this and had to share my thoughts on it before I forgot about it or got busy with something else. And as usual, I'm not going to play the video. This is fair use and all that. I suppose I should show the fair use thing just in case. I'm not going to run it. But the first thing is Mystery Babylon. I cringe as soon as I see that. There is no such thing as Mystery Babylon in the Bible. It says, let's go there to the scriptures. This is Revelation 17, and I'll just read this whole chapter, and then we're going to get into Daniel a little bit and come back. But notice there's two entities being discussed in this passage: Babylon and the beast, and people get them intertwined all the time and get them confused. And it's easy to see how that can happen, but the more you study, the less confused you get. You're never going to solve it completely. That's not how prophecy usually works beforehand. But we're just going to read this passage and then make some notes as we go along about who's who and who they're not, as I've done in many other videos, but it's worth repeating. It says, then one of the 7 angels with the bowls came and talked with me, and he said, here, I'll show you the judgment of the great harlot sitting on many waters. The kings of the earth have been promiscuous with her, and the earth dwellers have been made drunk with the wine of her harlotry. So we're talking, first of all, about the woman riding the beast. And I hate when this jumps when I grab the scroll bar, but that's just something we'll have to put up with. He carried me away in spirit to the desert, and there I saw a woman riding a red beast, covered with slanderous names, having 7 heads and 10 horns. She was clothed in purple and red, and adorned with gold, precious stones, and pearls. She had in her hand a golden chalice filled with the disgusting filth of her harlotry. On her forehead was written a cryptic name, a mysterious name, Babylon the Great, That's the start of her name, Babylon the Great. It's not Mystery Babylon. This is sloppy and careless of anybody who's telling me they've got a great new interpretation to start with. No, I didn't mean for the video to start at a certain time. Sorry if the link does that. I didn't mean for it to do that. Because I didn't go very far into it, actually. So, anyway, it isn't Mystery Babylon. It's a mysterious or cryptic name, and the name is long. Babylon the Great, mother of harlots and the disgusting things of earth. So she's got the name Babylon the Great, the subtitle, Mother of Harlots and Everything Disgusting, being the fountainhead of false religion. That's the end of the quote of her name. And then it says in verse 6, I saw that she was drunk with the blood of the holy people, or saints, and those who testify of Jesus, and I was aghast at the sight of her. Then the angel said to me, why are you shocked? I will explain to you the secret, the mystery of the woman and the seven-headed, ten-horned beast that carries her, the beast she rode in on. So the angel's going to explain the symbolism. As I've explained many times before, you don't interpret the interpretation. You don't give another symbol as an explanation for what the angel is explaining about the symbol already. You know, take it down another layer. So this is what the symbols mean. It says in verse 8, the beast you saw, not the woman riding it. The beast is not now, and is about to ascend from the abyss and then be taken into oblivion. The earth dwellers whose names have not been written in the scroll of life from the establishment of the world will be in awe of the beast that was, is not now, and will be. Okay, so, and I've been over the details of that before, but we'll go on here in the text. This takes wisdom. The seven heads of what? The beast, not the woman, are seven mountains the woman sits upon. These are seven kings. It's not the city on seven hills. It's that these seven mountains the woman is sitting on, the woman, not the beast, but she's sitting on the beast, and what she's sitting on are the seven mountains. The seven mountains are not her. The seven mountains are not Babylon. These are seven kings. They are not, as it is misstated or inaccurately stated in the King James, and they are seven kings. No, it's not the city on seven hills. It's that these seven mountains are seven kings. 5 have fallen, 1 is now, and the other has not yet come. This is different wording from the beast itself, but I've gone into detail on other things. I don't want to do that right now. But when he does come, he will only remain for a short time. The beast that was and is not now is an eighth that comes from the 7 but is proceeding to oblivion. The 10 horns you saw on what? The beast, not the woman, are 10 kings who have not yet acquired a kingdom, but they will share royal authority for the beast for 1 hour. They will also be in agreement and give their power and authority to the beast. They will battle the Lamb, but the Lamb will conquer them, since he's master of masters and king of kings, and those with him are appointed and chosen and trustworthy. Then he says to me, the waters you saw, which the harlot is sitting upon, so still not the harlot herself, are peoples, multitudes, nations, and languages. The 10 horns you saw, also on the beast, not the woman, the 10 horns and the beast will despise the harlot. They can't be her, they hate her guts. They will obliterate her, strip her naked, consume her flesh, and set her on fire. That's pretty thorough hatred. So the beast hates Babylon. The beast is the Antichrist and its kingdom that grew out of the 10 and subdued 3 of them. They hate her. And it goes on to say, verse 17, this is because God put it in their hearts to do his bidding and to unite in giving their kingdom to the beast until the words of God are fulfilled. And the woman you saw, back to her now, is the great city, we can't reinterpret that has sovereignty over the kings of the earth. So we have 2 entities in this passage, the beast and the woman. She depends on the beast. The beast has been giving her a ride but at some point turns on her and destroys her completely. Okay, she is Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, that is to say, the fountainhead of all false religion. That's why she's called Babylon, and she is a city. And later, other places in Revelation will talk about how people mourn over that great city and all the karma she did. So she is a political entity as well, but she's still not the beast. That's the important thing. She's not the beast. Now, one thing that is said in this video, besides Mystery Babylon, is he mentions in passing, that he doesn't really go into in this video, is that he believes that Babylon is New York City in the U.S. But it's not a country, so we can rule out that. And it's not any place in the Americas. They're not mentioned in the Bible in any way, shape, or form, except in the great umbrella term of the other nations. But in prophecy, everything in the Bible is centered on Jesus, and everything in prophecy is centered on him and the nation of Israel. And further inside of that, toward the bullseye, is Jerusalem, and the point of the bullseye itself is the temple. And that's how prophecy works in the Bible. And so the Bible just doesn't talk about the Americas, not in any indisputable way. So to say that it must be New York City just because of commerce or things like that, and ignore the multitude of details that don't fit New York, aside from being a new city, not an ancient one, not having anything to do with Israel in ancient times, which it must do because Revelation looks back to the Old Testament many hundreds of times to fulfill, to tie off, unseal, complete the prophecies. That's what Revelation does. It's nothing to do with New York City or Paris or London. Those are even closer because they're in the European continent. But that's as far as you can go with it. It cannot be New York City. So already I've got two reasons to question this video channel's depth of study. Now, the main thing he goes over here that I stopped after listening to, because two strikes already, he talks about the statue in Daniel. Now, I'm going to move this. I had this image that I did before. I can shrink that down to fit the whole window, but I'd rather you see more details. We talk about the 7 heads. We have the mother of harlots. Well, let me try to make that fit anyway. There we go. And I've gone over this before. It's from Revelation 11, 13, and 17. The woman rides the beast. Okay, the beast has these 7. There's 7 mountains. These mountains are 7 kings or kingdoms. The first 2 are somewhat disputed, but the Revelation is looking back at an entirety of history, whereas Daniel only looks forward from the time of Daniel. And that's why there's a difference, why it doesn't have the first 2. But Daniel spoke of 4 that match 4 of the image, the mountains and the kings. We have the lion with wings, the bear raised up on one side with one side bigger than the other and have ribs in its mouth. Then we have the leopard with 4 heads and 4 wings. And then we have the terrible iron beast. That's the one that has the 10 horns and the little horn and all that, and the red beast of Revelation. Well, the beast is what the woman rides. She sits on all these kings. The false religion has always been there, as I've explained many times in the past. But she is not the beast. She rides on it. Now, what he says in this video that just blew me away, and not in a good way, he said that, well, okay, this says the statue's head is Babylon. Well, the whole statue is one being, right? So it must all be Babylon. That is his premise that he's going to elaborate on in the rest of the video that I didn't stick around for. And he said, this, if you just picture me, here's my head, my shoulders, and, and on down, and you can't divide me up, I'm me. But he's completely ignoring what the purpose of the symbol is and the fact that it's paired with the 4 animals there. The statue And it's explained in Daniel. In Daniel 2, the statue is uh, Nebuchadnezzar, the head of gold. And then following him will be three other not just kingdoms, but empires, actually. The second, everybody agrees Babylon's the first, and this head is paired with the lion. These are obviously four different animals. So the statue's head must be Babylon, therefore all of it's Babylon, doesn't work when you realize that Daniel 7 is the same prophecy with different symbols, and it's four different animals who have nothing to do with each other. This is my main objection to the video, aside from the other two strikes before it, is that you can't just say, because Babylon is the head, the whole thing is Babylon. I mean, the lion is not the bear, is not the leopard, is not the iron beast. It does not work, even on the most superficial level. And then, of course, I don't know anybody of any study who would disagree that the head of gold matches the lion, which is Babylon, only Babylon, headed by Nebuchadnezzar. And then he was succeeded by the Medo-Persian Empire, the silver, which aligns with the bear. That's the Medo-Persian Empire. And I think it was the Medes that were stronger than the Persians, or sometimes I get that backwards. So that's why one side of the bear is lifted up. And then you have the third kingdom, which is Greece, Alexander the Great. And the four heads and the four wings, as I've explained before, symbolize the fact that the kingdom didn't go to any sons of his because he died quite young, but instead went to his four generals. And then it was followed by the kingdom of iron, which is the two legs. And just as there's two arms and two legs, the two arms are the Medes and Persians. So there's a split there, even though they were a united kingdom. Also, we have the Roman Empire, east and west. And so those match up with the iron beast. But then there's the feet of partly iron and partly clay. So there's iron, obviously the same empire, the Roman Empire, but something different about it, the mixture. And the mixture is what's symbolized in Revelation as the red beast, with 7 heads and 10 horns. Daniel didn't see that detail. He wasn't given that as much as Revelation. So as you see the notes I've got here on the red beast, the 7 heads and 10 horns identify it as the fourth one Daniel saw, but the red color indicates additional meaning. That's from Revelation. John calls the little horn the 8th king, who comes from the 7, the mountains and heads, and also calls it the first beast. So that's the Antichrist, what people normally call the Antichrist, son of perdition, and the first beast as opposed to the second beast, which will be the false prophet. This first beast is an individual, not anything else, but an individual who will die and rise again from the abyss. And that's where we get what the meaning of the phrase, who was, is not, and will come. He will also displace 3 of the 10 kings or horns. And so when somebody says, this is all Babylon and we just got stages of Babylon, sorry, they just don't know what they're talking about. They're not paying attention to the Bible itself, not even just in Daniel, because of the 4 animals. They're not all Babylon. They're not all Nebuchadnezzar. So we have Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome. Rome split east and west, and then we will have it revived in the end times, which we're on the cusp of. There will be 10 kingdoms. I've done a video on that recently. And the beast will arise from the 10 kings, subdue 3 of them, probably when he dies and rises at the midpoint, and that's also the point at which the beast turns on the woman and destroys her. Now, why does that happen? The Bible doesn't say. Well, we can speculate, based on the information we do have, that since he hates this woman, that's not something we have to speculate, because it says so right there, that they will, let's see, that's despise the harlot, that's in verse 16, chapter 17, in Revelation, verse 16, they will despise her. Why? Because, in my opinion, these kingdoms have had religion, false religion, as a kind of a crutch or mechanism by which to take and keep power. But Satan wants to be worshipped directly, and he possesses the Antichrist at the midpoint. That's when the other three kings are subdued, and when they all turn on false religion, Babylon. They destroy Babylon because God leads them to do it. And so, since they're destroying Babylon, they hate her, and she is that great city, so she can't be the beast. So Babylon is a city that has control of the whole world. Hey, Spider Monkey, good to see you. And yet, at the midpoint, Satan finally says, I've had enough of false religion. I'm destroying this whole thing. And then after that, there's no pretense anymore. Everybody who's got two brain cells to rub together knows who this is. And that's when a third of the people in Israel in Judea run to their place of safety for the second half, which is the short 1 hour reign of the beast, which is 3.5 years, according to Daniel 9:27. So I don't know how much else to say about this right now, because that's all the farther I went in the video, and I've done all this in more detail before. But how can anyone say, A, that there's Mystery Babylon, and not point out that that's not her name? It's Babylon the Great. B, say that America has anything to do with Bible prophecy. And C, think that because the head of the statue is Babylon, then the whole thing is Babylon, in spite of all what we have, not only in Scripture, but in hindsight with history, how it Daniel has vexed unbelievers so much over the years. And I've always mentioned that book, Daniel in the Critic's Den, because they say he couldn't possibly know what he knew in such exquisite detail, especially when he talks about the bickering between the four generals of Alexander the Great and all the political intrigue and the battles and conquests and going back and forth during that time. He describes it in detail, way before it happened. And so to not know that these four empires are not the same for a gazillion reasons is just inexcusable. But like I said, these are the kind of channels that get hundreds of thousands of subs, lots of engagement. Look at 491 comments in 2 months. I'm lucky if I get 4.9 comments in 2 years. People don't engage with my channel. And, I can hear all my critics jeering, there's other reasons for that, but judge for yourselves. I mean, all I'm doing is saying that these popular channels aren't doing due diligence. I don't know what else to explain, because it just pains me to know that this gets such traction and gets shared all over social media when it's so very wrong from the foundation. They didn't know what Mystery Babylon wasn't the name. They didn't know that America's not in Bible prophecy. And they didn't think about how the statue matches in Daniel 2 matches Daniel 7's 4 animals, which are obviously not the same being or the same entity in different stages. And we have the witness of history going back and looking. Look, it's Babylon, Medo-Persia, Alexander and his 4 generals, and Rome. It's pretty darn obvious. So I don't understand how that gets popular, or I don't know, because I can't always say. I used to think also it's how the video is presented. There are very slick videos out there, and very good videographers and lots of visuals and sound effects and all that. And maybe that's not what I do, but there's channels like this doesn't seem to be doing that either. I mean, he's got a whiteboard and stuff, but that's not, I think, what draws people in. How do they get to that stage teaching things like that? I don't understand. Here I looked at Revelation. Uh, didn't go back and read Daniel, but I've done it before. That's what this chart is from. And I don't know how this gets popular other than people are just too lazy to do their own checking. I don't know how it happens. I can't explain it. But I can explain what's wrong with the foundation of that video. Um, I don't even remember the guy's name right now. I could go look on the video and tell you, but it doesn't matter. What matters is to be discerning once again and say, look, what does the Bible say in these passages? How can a prophecy teacher not know these things? I don't get it at all. Anyway, how's everybody doing in the chat? I know all two or three of you in the chat. I think there's been two, right? And that's how it goes. I mean, it is Friday night, but like I said, there's even on other topics such as earth shape or conspiracy theories, or, I hate that term, but what else can you call it? That's not what it is. It's just what people know it as. Anything that's not mainstream, not normie, those are what people like to watch. They like to watch arguments. They like to watch nonsense. Or to pick on one aspect of the deception of the world and just talk about it endlessly, day after day. Christians will do that, and it doesn't matter if they skip a day or if they run every day or once a month, or it doesn't matter. There's no explanation for, I have no idea how anything gains traction. Maybe it just wasn't meant to be. Hey, Soundly, good to see you. You changed your name. All right. Removals. Interesting. Anyway, I'm probably about to stop because I don't have anything else to say other than be on your toes, keep your eyes peeled, keep your head on a swivel, because popular videos are going to lead you astray. Excuse me. It's just like that one I've looked at before, Rock Island Books, C.J. Lovick, and his calculations for Bible prophecy. I imagine he might be getting a little nervous by now. His last one, he left so open it could be any time this year. But calculations, dreams and visions, looking for Bible codes, these things are not going to lead you to the truth. But neither is sloppiness and laziness when it comes to teaching. Just because it sounds different and new, people flock to that. But sometimes people jump from the frying pan to the fire. And just because you change your position on something doesn't mean you changed it for the better. And it doesn't mean that suddenly somebody has a great insight that has escaped everyone up to that point. I know of nobody who thinks the whole statue, nobody else but this person who thinks the whole statue is Babylon. And why this would explain anything. Again, a lot of these things, like when I've done those videos on different views of the seals, trumpets, and bowls, it doesn't make it more clear. It just muddies the water and oversimplifies and makes things more confusing. So yeah, I don't get it. Watch it if you want. It's an hour and 42 minutes long. The channel name is Generation 2434, whatever that means. But let's look here at the explanation under the video. It just says Mystery Babylon, not the first iteration of Babylon. Okay, Mystery Babylon represents the current unipolar world order, interesting term, which is going to be deposed in order to make way for the coming multipolar final Babylon, the 10 kings, 10 toes. And I don't know, I can hardly read any of those words without facepalming. Anyway, just my opinion. Most people think I'm probably totally wrong, but I don't think this is right, at the very least. I don't think the foundation that he's going to build on here is solid at all. So that's really all I have to say. It's only been about a half hour, but that's okay. Encourage people to watch this one and that one. share it on social media and all that jazz. Um, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for coming.